Welcome back. All right, so as training camp is now in session, another news of the day video for your Thursday. It is still September the 18th at the time I'm recording this. Starting off at the top of the board, we will go from top to bottom. The big news is at the bottom of the board. Don't skip ahead. So at the top of the board, Thatcher Demko. So a lot of discussion, of course, around Thatcher Demko and his extension. He said he wanted to get the extension done. He wants to stay in Vancouver. He loves it in Vancouver. And he feels 100%. He feels fully healthy, that it didn't hold back his workouts. Last summer was more of a challenge for him. And he feels like he's in good shape to make it through a full season, 82 games. He feels much more prepared for that this year than he was last year, so it sounds like there's a lot of confidence. Quinn Hughes continues to say all the right leadership things when asked leadership questions by the media. So at the very least, the Vancouver Canucks players seem quite optimistic regarding this season. In Islanders camp, Matthew Schaefer, the number one draft pick this year, of course, he has impressed thus far at training camp. They have got him paired with Scott Mayfield. The intention, of course, is to get him into the lineup. If he's with Mayfield, I would think that's third pairing, right? So if Schaefer makes it into the NHL and if they start him off in that third pairing, it'd make a lot of sense. But this does bode well for Islander fans who'd like to see Schaefer in the lineup once we get to opening night in October. Oilers injury news, Zach Hyman, and it feels like this has been the rumor all summer, but it's confirmed now that he's going to be out until early November. So they're going to be without Zach Hyman for a bit. I did mention in the news video this morning, Mangiapane being tried on the first line. Mangiapane will want to make sure he does really well in that role before Hyman comes back. At any rate, the Oilers, of course, like I said in that video earlier today too, it's about having depth on the wings, and maybe this is the year where we see that for them with Savoy coming up as well. It should be an interesting year for the Oilers and for their fans. The New Jersey Devils are on the board for a second time today as well. Kovacevic with a knee, he's out indefinitely, so he's going to miss the start of the season, likely to go on LTIR. Nason is dealing with a groin issue. He's going to miss the start of the season for that. And when asked about Luke Hughes and contract talks and how much cap space New Jersey has and whether or not they're going to be able to get that done, Tom Fitzgerald didn't sound very concerned about how much cap space there is left and made it sound like, there's a plan in place. So the New Jersey Devils, maybe they've got a number they've got figured out with Hughes. Maybe there's an agreement between themselves and Luke Hughes on a number. Maybe it is just the number of years that is still the sticking point between the two. So definitely sounds like the New Jersey Devils have every intention of getting Luke Hughes in the lineup for opening night. We do have a couple of weeks left to get everything straightened out so that can happen. Morgan Rielly. So it was reported that Morgan Rielly was kind of pulled aside by the team's general manager when the season was done, and the general manager passed along how disappointing a season he felt it had been for Morgan Rielly. And to Morgan Rielly's credit, he's taking ownership of this. Rielly says he was disappointed in himself last season. So basically, probably didn't need to be pulled aside by anybody and told, hey, we want more out of you. He wants more out of himself. He spent the summer committed to being better this season. So a lot of workouts and a lot of planning on what he's going to get done this season. So Morgan Rielly's saying all the right things. The general manager sounds optimistic about Rielly this year. So right now, things seem to be pretty good in Toronto. And I think it was Berube that said he's glad that there's no core four at this point. I do think there's a lot of Leaf fans that are glad that there isn't a core four. I do wonder how long it'll be before the media's created one. But at any rate, sounds like Morgan Rielly's in good shape and ready for a big bounce back season, which I would expect from him anyways. Rielly's better than what we saw this past season. And he'll get a chance to prove that in a couple of weeks when the season gets rolling. Patrik Laine, another player gets talked about a lot. He's in a contract year. He's saying all the right things. The Habs are saying all the right things about him. He's looking to put together a strong year this year, and he was asked about how he would feel about getting a chance to play with Demidov, and his answer being, you mean Demidov having a chance to play with me? He meant it in jest, but that's good. Means he's relaxed. He feels good right now. And so Patrik Laine, we'll see how his year goes. Laine is so streaky. I could see him having like a slow start and then getting 7 goals in 2 games or vice versa. 7 goals the first 2 games of the season and then going cold for the next 10. It is just Laine's been like that his whole career. We'll see how things go this year for him in Montreal. But the fact it's a contract year, you would think that would help them to. You would think that would help him to improve his game. So there's been a lot of talk about Evgeny Malkin. Malkin's going into his final season with the Pittsburgh Penguins, of course, and discussions about whether or not the Penguins are going to try to keep him around. Kyle Dubas saying that he will meet with Malkin during the Olympic break, and at that point, they're going to discuss his contract. They're going to discuss his future with the team and what that's going to look like. So not ruling out maybe keeping him past this season. So at the very least, we know that we're going to get a lot of speculation about Malkin, what Malkin's future is going to look like with Pittsburgh between now and then. But that is a good time for Dubas to sit down and discuss it because, as I've mentioned in previous videos, right after we come out of the Olympic break, the trade deadline is not very far off. So that is a perfect time to sit down and talk to Malkin, maybe work out a contract extension for another year or two, or get a decision from him on what the plan is going to be going forward. And if you're not going to keep him, maybe you do move him at the deadline. So makes total sense for Dubas to approach it this way. And I guess it'll be just put on the shelf until we do get around to the Olympic break. The New York Rangers, neither Panarin nor Chris Drury, the general manager, are talking about the fact that he's going into a contract year and whether or not there's any discussions going on. So neither side's talking about it. He is a pending unrestricted free agent. I did see a lot of comments online, and obviously I don't mean here on the channel because I haven't talked about it on here, but a lot of comments from people about Panarin's play in the playoffs and how the Rangers haven't gone that far and how the Rangers should be spending their money on, a first-line center, and that's where you need a superstar to win a Stanley Cup. I'm not going to disagree. I have said in previous years I've been surprised at how little heat Panarin gets for the Rangers not going further in the playoffs. So we'll see how things go this year between we'll see how things go for the Rangers first off, and how Panarin's role is and how many points he puts up, because if we see any fall off from him, he is in his mid-30s, so it can happen. Maybe he ends up on the move as well. I think it'd be great if this was a year where we saw a lot of big names get moved at the deadline, around the deadline. I know it's not going to happen. I know. Those days are behind us, but man can dream, can't he? So anyways, yeah, let me know your thoughts on Panarin and the contract that he's got with the Rangers, and just for the amount of money he's had. Have the Rangers got their money's worth for that contract? I think that's a valid question. Let me know your thoughts. Yeah, I could probably do a video on that at some point as well. Yeah, that's definitely, there's a video there. There's definitely something there for a video, so we'll see what happens there. Pierre LeBrun reporting that salary is the stumbling block for Evangelista. He is a restricted free agent, of course. He is not at camp. The Preds, Barry Trotz saying he's disappointed he's not in camp. But without a contract, he's not going to be in camp. Both sides in this Evangelista contract dispute are okay with the 2-year deal. So it definitely just sounds like it's money, not the years. And we'll see how it works. And Barry Trotz, too, to his credit, today said, hey, we've surprised people 2 years in a row. We want to surprise them 3 years in a row. So they were a positive surprise a couple seasons ago, a negative surprise this past season. He wants to be a positive surprise again this year. I'm not seeing the odds are great for that, but it's the right attitude to take. It is training camp and then preseason. Nobody's lost anything as of yet. However, the LA Kings are going to lose a superstar at the end of this season. Anze Kopitar felt like now was a perfect time to announce that this will be his final season. So he will retire at the end of the season. I'm looking forward to seeing a lot. I would think a lot of teams, when they're visiting, are going to have some sort of ceremony for Anze Kopitar, because the guy is a legend. He is going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. And yeah, Kopitar is the first player so far of this year's pending UFAs, because I'm pretty sure this is the last year of his contract. I talked about it with the Kings season preview. But yeah, so he's the first one to say, yep, this will be my last year. We'll see if anybody else jumps in and says something similar over the next week or two. But at this point, there will be a farewell tour for Anze Kopitar. Let me know your thoughts regarding that in the comments section below, as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe in the event you may not have done so already. Thank you guys so much for all your support. It's greatly appreciated. I will talk to you again soon.